is the first harbinger, an integrated amplifier designed from scratch by Moscow specialists with many years of experience in the successful development of hi-fi and car audio. Meet it, a killer in the entry-level segment, a true monster in its class, which can be finely tuned to the maximum. With a luxurious design, thoughtful usability, as we say, and of course, a top-notch sound signature. Spoiler alert, it won in a direct comparison against the Rotel 1572 MK2. I'm often criticized for focusing on the premium segment and not spending enough time on more accessible products. It's clear that an S-Class for 25 million and an integrated amplifier for 1.5 million with tubes, well, they can't be bad by definition. But understand me correctly, friends. I test the luxury segment on intuition because there are truly great products there that I want to show to people and experience the best. Isn't that right? In the entry-level segment, everything is usually sad and full of compromises. But not this time, friends. When a month ago I got my hands on this first integrated amplifier in Russia with the proud serial number 001. I'll show it to you. At first I didn't expect any miracles from it. Yes, it's ours, yes, it plays, yes, it's made cool. But I estimated the price to be around 80,000 rubles, so to speak, based on my sales experience. But when I found out the final price for this product, I was simply shocked. 34,800 rubles. Seriously? A device with a toroidal transformer, Bluetooth phono preamp, the ability to read flash drives, a decent headphone output. In stylish attire, in full form factor, which is very important to me, with well thought out ergonomics, brand new with a warranty, truly capable of driving complex acoustics. And I connected it to my 802 D4. Friends, comrades from MMC, are you sure you didn't mix anything up? It's now the middle of 2024. I encountered much weaker functionality and similar sound about 12 years ago in the Net 326 by Bjorn Erik Edvardsen. First, by making the Premiera vinyl, you sent me back in time with a minimal price tag and cool sound. Now, the integrated amplifier does the same, only it gives even more for a minimum amount of rubles. Let's go in order. Let's start with the design. I don't like small amplifiers. On a subconscious level, it seems to me that they lack a more fundamental sound. Therefore, I consider this size to be optimal. Take a closer look. What a facade. What do you see besides the refined lines, thoughtfully designed buttons with debonair beautiful white backlighting that caresses your retinas? So you don't find anything. I'll tell you. To create such a design, it took many months of experimentation. I have seen dozens of different facades from the MMC laboratory, and they are all different. And only after all possible variations did the A1 become what it is now before you. And I like it, friends. Its new three-dimensional logo looks great, as does the cold, thick front panel and the volume control. For this price, it's a masterpiece. Interacting with it is much more pleasant than with the same Rotel 1572, and especially compared to its counterparts from Denon and others. At the same time, our hero is the most affordable among the competitors. Friends, do you hear that light, pleasant crunch? The engineers made sure that their creation sounds good in every sense of the word. And this is truly a no-compromise approach. The screen is simple, but for 100, a small budget, this is definitely a plus. A flash drive for our favorite MP3s, a full headphone jack, tone, and balance controls. There seem to be a lot of buttons, but they fit perfectly into the overall picture. What do we have at the back? A Bluetooth module is already on board. There's optical and coaxial for an ideal solution, but HDMI and network functions are missing. We'll be preparing a petition, friends, to ensure that all of this is included in the new model. By the way, you can give it a try. The phono preamp, as it turns out, is of decent quality, but the downside is the terminals, which would be suitable for a regular device. But we have the best in its class, which means we won't forgive such a thing. Very tight, inconvenient placement. We would like to see them lined up, with enough space between each other. And then it will be convenient for you to insert any cable, whether it's bananas, spades, and so on. It's really strange why even high-end companies can't make the most convenient terminals. Even if there are two terminals in the amplifier, they will also be placed very close to each other. Well, spread them out, will you? Come on, give people usability. An adult input at 220, grounding without compromises, unlike Japanese hi-fi, and of course a beautiful, proud inscription. Friends, designed in Russia, MMC company. And notice the font. It stands out from everything else. Well done. Designers, look at the legs. They are thick, two-tiered, with a rubber base. Details make the difference once again. Pay attention to the thoughtful ventilation. A real-life story. I bought myself a horizontal PC case from Silverstone, installed powerful hardware in it, but the top Taiwanese engineers who make cases at the price of this amplifier didn't think to include such ventilation. I had to make holes, insert four fans, holes, and only then could I properly load the computer. How is that possible? A fully ventilated cover both on top and on the sides. What does this mean? This is attention to detail, which means the amplifier will work longer, even in tight shelves, with poor ventilation, as the airflows will be better distributed. And, accordingly, exit where these little holes are. Look at the thermal imager to see which areas are cold and which heat up the most. But really, no one else will show you this. So, subscribe, comment, Melody. But even the Rotel 1572 with a more powerful setup has less thought out ventilation. Right, friends? Well, that's how it happens. All right, let's open it up and see what's inside. Oops. Oh. The tritium transformer immediately catches the eye. It's large with quality winding, and it even has a protective cover, friends, covering the bolt. This undoubtedly adds a high-end atmosphere, because even in my Bristol worth 1,000,000 rubles, they didn't bother with such details. The transformer is placed as intelligently and far from the digital part as possible. The wires are quite thick, laid within the norm, so there's nothing for me to criticize here. Pay attention to the radiator. Do you see these fins? Do you know why they did it this way? A larger surface area means better cooling with the same dimensions. A nuance, but again, they thought it through and did it. Now this is interesting, friends. I've seen something similar among the best in the world. The control indication board is connected to the unit with a separate board with a track. That's why we don't have flat harnesses that could pick up interference and generally worsen the airflow in the case. In my opinion, this is a more expensive but definitely the right approach. And another nuance, again, you see the boards, friends, they are all labeled Premiere, Premiere, Premiere. This indicates that it is not a no-name production, but specifically made for this brand, for these amplifiers. And not just buying boards and assembling them in an unclear manner. We close our hero. And you know what else I want to say? An amazing fact, but for the specialists at MMC, it's not enough to create a quality product in terms of hardware, so to speak. They also want the best software products. I'll let you in on a secret. I spoke with the founder of the company. He told me about such things. Crazy plans. Just think, by purchasing their products in the future, you will be able to literally customize it for yourself. For example, if you want to change the sensitivity of the line inputs by a few decibels. With the help of new firmware, this will actually be possible, friends. And what if you change the signal attenuation to -30 instead of the default -20? This will also be available to you. Or maybe you want to change the equalizer settings, the Q factor of the high or low frequencies. You will also be able to do that. Changing the brightness of the backlight, all of these will be available as well. Create your perfect amplifier based on the already nearly perfect A1 in its class. How do you like that idea, huh? Personally, I haven't come across anything like this, where a device with open source code is available for some experiments. If you know of any examples, please write in the comments. I would be extremely grateful. The main thing is how it sounds. Let's get straight to the point. For the first time, I set up the A1 for my staff in the listening room, where previously the combination of KFQ150 and Rotel 1572 with a CD player was playing. The guys were listening to rap like Travis Scott, Drake, and in my opinion, it seemed to me that the A1's mid-highs performed better. But I didn't want to torture myself with pumped-up African Americans and left. In the evening, I asked how the new device compared to the Rotel. Igor and Anton, that's the names of my employees, unanimously said that despite the A1 not being fully broken in, it played somehow better, more soulful. Can you imagine? More soulful on rap. Strange, isn't it? After all, the 1572 is 5 to 6 times more expensive, more powerful, and it has almost a 50-year history behind it. The next session was with my friend Alexei, who has an almost perfect ear and has spent half his life in the car audio industry. Think about it. In his car, he has Bilev and Focal Utopia for the high frequencies. That's how much you have to love music. So we took the KF-Q350 and played Sade's magnificent Apizna test song, Soldiers of Love, one after the other. I think the first one is Moon in the Sky. I consider this track almost perfect for such experiments because from the first seconds it offers a variety of material with high frequencies, mid frequencies, and then the bass parts come in. So, Helen's vocals from the misty Albion mixed with sunny Nigeria are, as always, stunning. You can confidently evaluate the pros and cons of any hi-fi equipment with it. We completely agreed with Alexi that the bass was more interesting on the Rotel, but we preferred the rest of the frequency range, the soundstage, and the overall presentation on the A1. And for me, this was truly a shock. I sincerely hoped that the Russian would lose to the Japanese, well, by about 30%, and that would already be a success given the huge price difference. But to win in an uneven battle, that's truly nonsense. Is this a success? Undoubtedly, yes, this is a real claim to victory. In front of you is a ticket to the world of adult sound, at a ridiculous price if we consider today's standards. There you have it, a Russian. And the fact that it's made in China? Well, you know how it's written on your Mac if you have one? Designed by Apple California, assembled by China. Watched until the end? Subscribe, give a like, leave a reasonable comment,